Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Stephanie. This is going to be a February favorites collab video with some friends. So I am in this romance group of wonderful readers, and we have decided to sort of get together and give you guys a collab video every month, hopefully, of our favorite books for the month. And I have the honor of putting our videos together this month, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We asked that our friends, we all are going to give you guys one book. I'm sure there are so many more books that they have read for the month. I know I have. It was a hard time for me to pick which book that I wanted to sort of feature on this video, but I will let you guys get into their favorites for February.
Hey friends, I'm Bree and I make videos over on the channel Bree Hill, and my favorite romance in February was Beyond Time by J.A. Armstrong. This is a beautiful female romance. It follows our heroine Mercy. In the beginning, we learn that she is a political journalist on like a news channel, and she's exhausted and she has some vacation time coming up, so her coworker convinces her, rather than spend your vacation sitting on the couch ordering takeout and watching television, physically leave the city. So she goes to a family cottage up in Maine, and the thing about Mercy is she is always off and on throughout her life had these dreams and visions of this woman. She never gets close enough to her to really see her face or try to figure out like who she is or why she's constantly haunting her dreams. But really, once she gets to this cabin up in Maine, the pieces start to fall together. This is a amazing story of two women who loved each other at a time when them loving each other was unacceptable. And if you believe in the idea of love transcending time and people finding their way back to each other, you will absolutely love this book. This is a book that's going to stick with me for a long time. It is a novella, so it's only like 108 pages, and I just blew through it. I would have absolutely read another 200 or so pages if that's what the author wanted to do. Like, it was fantastic. So I highly recommend it. Again, that is Beyond Time by J.A. Armstrong.
Hi guys, my name is Chloe and my channel name is Always Booked, and today I'm coming to you to tell you about my favorite romance read of February. Now, this book was so hyped up and it's been around for a while, and it took Contemporary-a-thon to finally make me read it. This was my recommended by other people on BookTube, and I'll just tell you that book was Eleanor and Gray by Brittainy C. Cherry. This book was so good. I am always nervous about going into super hyped books thinking that my expectations are going to just be too high, but this one was 5-star for me and I loved it. It is about Eleanor and Grayson, and they meet when they are in high school, and Eleanor is Miss Bookish and Grayson is Mr. Popular, and they become unlikely friends, and he's there for her through some really hard times, and their friendship is just awesome. And I loved that they met over like bookish things and kind of bonded over that, and then her family moves to a different state, and so they lose touch. And so then years later, she's back in her home state, and she goes to apply for a nanny job, and she finds out she's nannying for Grayson's kids. And the Grayson she meets as an adult is not the same guy she knew as a teenager. He's dark, he's broody, he's just not a happy man. He's very like cold and not friendly, and just not at all the boy that she like fell in love with as a teenager. So then what follows is just figuring out what happened to him in the time that they were apart, that he became so dark, and what happened to her, and can they get over it and have a relationship or not. And I love the kids. I love Grayson and Eleanor. I just love this book. So I would highly recommend you pick up Eleanor and Gray if you haven't. It is on Kindle Unlimited for free, but I loved it so much that I got a hard copy. So I would highly recommend this book.
Hey there, I'm Bree from In Love and Words, and my favorite book that I read this month was Behind the Bars by Brittainy C. Cherry. I fell in love with this book from the very first page. Well, I listened to it on audio, so I guess it's not necessarily the first page. I fell in love with it right away. This was the perfect mix between a YA and an adult novel because we follow the two love interests beginning in high school and then it kind of fast forwards into their adulthood. So for those of you who either prefer YA and want to get a little bit into adult or vice versa, I feel like this is a great beginning book to start with. This contemporary romance follows the story about a girl named Jasmine who has an abusive mother who is forcing her into singing, acting, and dancing when all she really wants to do is sing jazz music, but her mother insists that it has to be pop music. She wants her to be famous over schooling, over anything else. Her mother wants her to just be famous and is pushing her way too hard. So Jasmine is the new student at the high school where Eli goes, and he is getting bullied really badly there because of his stutter and because of how he looks. And Jasmine is new, but she's immediately popular. However, she ends up seeing Eli playing music on the side of the road and sees how much passion he has in the music and how much the music is kind of flowing through him. And because she appreciates jazz music and she's a musician herself, she sees that in him and feels an immediate connection to him and actually recognizes him from school. So she starts to talk to him, and at first he's very like standoffish. He's like, "Why are you talking to me?" But eventually it grows into a friendship and then eventually to something a little bit more. And it's so swoony, it's so sweet. Eli is the sweetest person ever. He is the son of a single mom and he has a sister, both of whom are very feminist, who have obviously raised him well. He knows how to treat women and respect them. And then it just follows their story all the way up into adulthood. There are definitely some hiccups on the way, and this book just swept me away. I had so much sympathy for Jasmine and Eli's situations, and I was rooting for them so hard from the very beginning. And also, I've had a thing for like the anti-alpha hero, and I feel like Eli is one of those heroes. He's not super alpha, he's very sweet and just a very good person. He goes through a lot of growth and a lot of change in this book. It's such a beautiful romance, and it has enough drama and enough excitement in it to keep you interested, you know, emotional like all Brittainy C. Cherry books are. And if you haven't read this one, I highly, highly recommend that you do.
Hey there, my name is Kayla. My channel name is On the Fritz, and I'm going to be talking about my favorite romance book in the month of February. So I'm going to talk about an alien romance series I have recently been gushing about this year. The series is the Kraken series by Tippi Roberts, and my favorite book of February was book 4, Heart of the Deep. So this series is a sci-fi alien romance series. We are out on a different planet. Humanity has sent people out into space to colonize on this new planet. In book 1, the main character of the series discovers this new life, the Kraken, who live in the ocean, and they are a humanoid species. So that from the top up they are human, and the bottom down they are octopus, so there's tentacles involved. If you've never read alien romance before, you might be thinking, oh, okay. I think if you haven't read alien romance before, I think this is still palpable, even though there are tentacles involved and stuff. They are very sweet romances. So book 4, we follow our big grunting hero, and he gets captured by a ship of humans, and he gets captured by this strong female, and they have an instant attraction, and she helps rescue him and 2 others off the ship when the ship catches fire, and their love story just kind of grows from there. Our female is very strong. She's a hunter. And he finds his equal in her, and he wants her to be his mate. He already kind of has claimed her in his mind. When they first met, he just has this natural attraction to her based off her strengths, and she was able to capture him and 2 other Kraken. The series is so fun, and this book really, like, each book kind of advances the timeline along quite fast for a series. By the end of this book, I did shed a few tears. I really liked where the series is going, and there are 2 or 3 more books out in the series. A new one just released, and I do plan on doing a full series review of all the books that are currently out.
So you can head over to my channel and check that out if you're interested to hear about more Kraken and tentacle alien romance. I gave this book 4 stars and I read it as an ebook. So if you're looking for a cute alien romance with some good steamy bits and tentacles, check out the Kraken series by Tippi Roberts.
Hi everyone, it's Nicole from Who Picked This Book, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my favorite romance read from February, and that's Any Duchess Will Do, which is the 4th book in the Spindle Cove series by Tessa. So Spindle Cove is a little town where a society of women live to escape the aristocratic pressures of the London society and all the restrictions that they place on women, and in this town they can just be themselves. And in Any Duchess Will Do, we follow Pauline, who has a disabled sister, and they have just been told their whole life that she's a failure and a better life is kind of out of her reach. We also follow Griffin, who is a duke who is being pressured by his mother to marry and have babies so she can have grandchildren, and he has a very traumatic past, and because of that he self-inflicts a kind of isolation that he says he will not marry, he will not have any children, and the Halford line is going to end with him. And there is just something about kind of like the rakish or this rogue who underneath all of the layers, all the walls that he puts up for society, is just a heart of gold. And I just love Griff so much. And I know this is the 4th book in a series and I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but this book really pulled on my heartstrings. I cried at one point. It was just so beautifully written, especially with Griff's traumas. So Griff's mother basically kidnaps him and takes him to Spindle Cove and just says, pick any one of these women. Basically, has the title comes in, Any Duchess Will Do, and I will train her to be a duchess and she will be your bride by the end of the week. Since he's already saying, like, I'm not gonna marry, I'm not gonna have any children, he has a little twist of it of his own, and he picks Pauline strictly because he wants to pay her to do a horrible job and to not succeed and be accepted by the peers of society. So Pauline is kind of stuck in the middle because she is falling for Griff. She really loves his mother and they both have secrets, and she just knows that it won't work. Everything that Griff's mother is giving to her is just all in vain because she's just a servant girl and he's a duke, and there's just no way that society will accept them. And she can't leave Spindle Cove anyway because her sister is there and needs her. So Pauline just believes it's just doomed from the start. So that's why, you know, she takes the money so she can better her life for her and her sister, because she has the goal of wanting to open a bookshop in Spindle Cove, like a circulating bookshop where women can go and read books and just escape into the fantasies of the written word. Of course, this is a romance, so you know it ends in happily ever after, but just the journey there. And then when the secrets all, you know, come out and you learn about Griff's traumas, and it's just so heartbreaking. There's a certain scene that I'm just thinking about, and I'm just tearing up just thinking about it because it's just so heart-wrenching in the fact that the male protagonist is going to that level. So it's just so incredibly sad that it really just, it touched my heart. So I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. And if you read it, grab a box of tissues.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and tell you what my February favorite book was. My name is Tosha. I am from Book Diva over here on BookTube. And so for February, my favorite book was A Hunger Like No Other by Kresley Cole. This is the first book in her Immortals After Dark series, and I was a little hesitant at first, but I absolutely loved it. It was definitely a 5 star. It was my very favorite book of the month. This book follows Lachlan, who is a Leahy, which is basically a werewolf shifter, and Emmeline, which is a half Valkyrie, half vampire. And in this book, vampires and Valkyrie and Leahy, they are all like sworn enemies. And so for him to fall in love with a half Valkyrie, half vampire, it's basically unheard of. And he is the leader, the king of the Leahy in Scotland. And so he ends up taking her and like claiming her, and just their whole love and the dynamic between the two and how they brought the different species and stuff together was just absolutely amazing. It was a beautiful story and I absolutely loved it. I hope you guys all had a great February. Bye.
And we're back. So I hope you guys enjoyed what they have said about their favorite books for the month of February. I had a hard time figuring out which book I wanted to really talk about and feature as my favorite for the month. So I'm only going to give you one of my favorites. Later on this week, you guys can see the other 4 books that I have picked for my top 5 books of February in my February wrap up and stats video. But the book that I'm going to really sort of talk about today in this video is Legend by M.R. Leahy. This is a fairy tale retelling, and this book knocked my socks off. This is the first time I've read any M.R. Leahy books, and she really took a turn with the retelling of Tarzan and Jane into this weird and fantastical and new and different way that I just really loved. I mean, I absolutely loved it. So you have Tarzan, who is the hidden prince of the jungle, and in the beginning of the story you find out that his father is the king and his mother is a human, that they are fated mates. They end up getting together when their sort of essence starts to talk to each other when they become of age, and they mate and they do their thing. They have Tarzan. Well, there is some uproar within the why do I want to say community, in the pride in the jungle and everything like that. It does have a, I was on the fence when I was reading this to see if it was a retelling of The Lion King or if it was a retelling of Tarzan, but with the names that were picked to do the retelling, Tarzan and Leahy, you can sort of see that it's Tarzan and Jane. So, and also there are people that live within the trees, so it really has that Tarzan sort of feel, but then there's sort of these paranormal aspects that are added to it, and it's a fantastical thing that's added to it on why Tarzan and Leahy end up sort of getting together and how they get together and the things that go around it. It's almost like a curse that's within this island, and it's just so much fun. It was such a great read. I devoured it, and it's short. So if you're worried about it's going to be too long or anything like that, it's not. It's a very quick read. I read it in like 3 or 4 hours, and I just really enjoyed it. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed everyone else's favorite books for February. It is the month of love, but it's also Black History Month. Just, there's so many books out there that, you know, we want you guys to go check out, and I hope that you got some good recommendations from all of them. If you are interested in their channels, make sure that you check the description box. I will link everyone's channel down in the description box so that you can go check out and find some new romance booktubers if that is something that you are looking for. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. There's also a recommendations form down there. All you need is the book title, the book author, and the genre in which the book falls into. And I'd appreciate if you left your name so that I could shout you out if I end up picking your book to read. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.